This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Wednesday, the 10th day of September in the year 2025. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here is what we're tracking tonight. A legal battle is looming over the decision by the owner of the Mays Private School, David Sugrim, to construct prefab buildings on the community ground in Sobrieville to house students who were displaced last March after a devastating fire destroyed the school's building just opposite that community ground. In wake of the fire, the Georgetown Mayor and City Council had granted the school approval to set up tents on the Farnum ground to house the students for a period of 1 year while the school was being rebuilt. However, without the approval of the council or the residents in the area, the Mays School went ahead and began to construct prefab buildings on the ground. Now the residents are up in arms and are threatening legal action. Today, the City Works Committee met to deliberate on the issue. Its recommendations will be put to the full City Council in the coming days for a vote. City Mayor Alfred Mentor, who attended the meeting, told News Source the Council's decision will be made known by Monday. He said, however, were it up to him, he would have granted permission for the school to use the ground temporarily within the original time span agreed, March of 2025 to March of 2026.
My thing is that education is one thing, residence is another. But I believe that kids and their education should trump the benefits of the overall residents. I'm saying that the school has been there for maybe 30 years or thereabout. They've had the use of the ground, or the section of the ground, or say 25% of the ground. The other 75% of the ground is there for the entire community to use, the entire community to play and enjoy. This matter or this transaction is a temporary one. This is an issue where we will lock and tie the gentleman, if all things work well, into the commitment that he has and the commitment that to stay put to the arrangement that we want that is temporary.
Noting that he has a soft spot for children's education, Mayor Mentor said he is concerned that children could be displaced if the issue is not resolved amicably. He said there could be a win-win situation for all. The mayor explained that when the disaster struck last March, the council immediately sprung into action and without hesitation granted the school approval to use the ground temporarily at no charge, but under certain conditions. He said prior to the fire, the school was using the ground for many years for sports and other recreational activities, and there was never any issue granting approval for temporary use.
Part of the ground that we're talking about is an area that has always been, the area was always enjoyed by the Mays School themselves, where the people in the community would have given permission or no objection for Mays to use the ground. The
mayor said though approval was given, it was made clear that the arrangement was only temporary and permission was only granted for the use of tents. On Tuesday, residents complained that the council never consulted with them on the use of the ground before granting approval to the owner of the school to use the facility. And for that, the mayor apologized. He told reporters today that the residents never complained up until now, but admitted that the owner of the school, David Sugrim, has breached his agreement with the council. Sugrim reportedly took a unilateral decision to erect the prefab buildings out of concern that the children were getting wet under the tents whenever it rains.
He made his own arrangement to do something a little different to accommodate them in the new term. That was not brought to us. We didn't have any information or application concerning that. And it didn't come to the city engineer, it didn't come to me, it didn't come to the Central Housing and Planning, or no one knew of what was being done.
The Georgetown mayor said upon learning of the erection of the prefab buildings, Sugrim was told of the infractions and instructed to apply to the City Council and the Central Housing and Planning Authority for approval. When News Source visited the Farnum ground today, a number of the prefab buildings were already up and several others were under construction. Sugrim was seen on site assessing the work being done. However, when approached by news source for a comment, he jumped in his car and left the scene. Sugrum is also expected to submit an application to the authorities for a permanent structure to be built on the land where the school once stood. More news coming up in just a moment.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Quartz presents the Home Event 2025, happening now at Quartz stores nationwide. It's the perfect time to refresh your home. Come explore new arrivals, best sellers, and deals you can't resist. Discover the widest range of stylish furniture, cutting-edge TVs, audio systems, and appliances that are smart and energy efficient, all backed by the Quartz low price guarantee. Our experts will help you choose what you need for your home. Shop with Quartz Ready Finance and get more. Don't miss the Quartz Home Event 2025. Quartz, bringing value home.
Combo pack up, we feeling best. Sunshine stacks above the rest. There is no contest, it's the best mix, so we feeling best. Best value to how you're feeling. All it cheesy, too much ripples and more combo pack of flavors galore, yeah. Combo pack up, we feeling best. Sunshine stacks above the rest. There is no contest, it's the best mix, so we feeling best. Enjoy Sunshine Snacks Combo Pack. Best mix, best value. Best mix, so we feeling best.
The One Guyana floating production, storage and offloading vessel has achieved first oil, marking another historic moment for our nation. With the Yellowtail project now in operation, production will eventually increase by 250,000 barrels per day, taking Guyana's national output capacity to over 900,000 barrels daily, the highest per capita in the world. This milestone means much more opportunities for Guyanese, from jobs in transport, engineering, and construction to new contracts for local businesses.
International observers of the recently concluded elections have found that the decision-making at the level of the Guyana Elections Commission remains heavily influenced by politicians, thereby diminishing the public's trust in the institution. The European Union, the Carter Center, the Commonwealth Secretariat, the Caribbean Community CARICOM, and the Organization of American States Election Observer Missions, while acknowledging the smooth conduct of the elections, highlighted urgent need for the Elections Commission to be reformed. Chief Observer for the European Union's Election Observer Mission, Robert Bedron, said GECOM structure and decision-making remain heavily influenced by political divisions, with the commissioners often sharing conflicting information, thereby compromising an already reduced trust in the institution.
The Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, managed the elections efficiently. However, its decision-making remains heavily influenced by political polarization, which undermine public confidence. Commission members often express conflicting stances in public, which further compromise trust in the institution.
Leader of the Carter Center Election Observer Mission, Jason Carter, said unfortunately the Constitution of Guyana does not explicitly establish the 7-member Elections Commission as an independent body, and the Carter Price formula, which is used to compose the commission, is now outdated. Based on that formula, 3 commissioners are nominated by the government, while 3 are nominated by the opposition, and the chairman is appointed by the president from a list of nominees submitted by the leader of the opposition. Mr. Carter said those commissioners have been closely aligned with Guyana's two historically dominant, ethnically based political parties.
There is a mechanism now for selecting the GECOM commissioners. They've called that the Carter formula. We have been against the Carter formula for years, making these recommendations. And so there are a number of ways that you can look at international best practices and understand how that election commission itself can be more independent and less partisan. And it can still be a Guyanese solution. And that's really what it requires, is a Guyanese solution.
The Carter Center said in addition to the problems of gridlock, polarization, dominant political party control, the current structure of the Elections Commission excludes smaller parties from the electoral decision-making process. 6 parties contested this year's elections, but the PPP and the APNU are the only parties represented on the Elections Commission. The Carter Center said the situation leaves other parties without equal access to information about the electoral process and no voice in decisions affecting the process. It said the structure of GECOM contributes to the lack of trust among some of the political parties and the broad public. Meanwhile, the chief of mission for the CARICOM Observer Team, Chief Election Officer of Belize, Josephine Tamay, said independent commissioners need to be appointed.
I'm certain that when it comes to the commission, that it should only be political parties involved. Because at some point in time, some of those political parties don't exist anymore. And so you would want to have independent organizations being a part of the commission, because the complaint has always been that when it's basically the two major political parties, then that is where representation stems and the other parties don't really have a voice. And so I don't believe that we should just limit it to political parties.
The CARICOM chief of mission said independent organizations should be represented on the commission, in addition to political parties, and the appointment for all commissioners should be time-bound. The Commonwealth and OAS observer missions also expressed similar concerns, with the Commonwealth stating that the present composition of GECOM prohibits the Elections Commission's ability to effectively operate and excludes important stakeholders from deliberations and decision-making. Similar concerns and recommendations were put forward following the 2020 elections, but many of those recommendations remain without action. The government of Guyana has condemned the unilateral bombing by the Israeli Defense Force in Doha, Qatar, which took place just 1 mile from the Guyana embassy. Israel has defended its actions by claiming it was targeting Hamas leaders in the country. But the government of Guyana described the act as violent and a flagrant violation of international law and a direct assault on the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the state of Qatar. The government said Guyana strongly believes that the unilateral military strike in Qatar does not help the cause in ending the war in Gaza, nor of achieving lasting peace in the Middle East. It added that the state of Qatar has been a consistent ally in fighting terrorism and has been instrumental in working closely with the US and Egypt to bring about a diplomatic solution to the war in Gaza. The Guyana government said it stands in full solidarity with the Emir and people of the state of Qatar and urges full respect for international law and support for allies working to end the war in Gaza and combating global terrorism. Former APNU AFC members of Parliament Tabitha Saribo Halley, Dawn Hastings Williams, and Natasha Singh will be among the candidates for the Win Party heading into the National Assembly when the new Parliament convenes. The three were among several former APNU members who walked away from that party in the lead-up to the elections. The APNU lost thousands of votes and its strongholds in the elections. Former Gaisuko Estate Manager Vishu Pandey will also be heading into the National Assembly, along with Dr. Ryan Richards of Region 10, Beverly Cornelius from Region 2, Gordon Barker from Region 3, Nandrani Singh from Region 4, and Gobind Harbhajan from Region 6. A Region 1 representative is still to be finalized. the leader of the Wind Party, Azruddin Mohammed, confirmed that he will also be heading into the National Assembly to take up one of the 16 seats won by his party at the elections. He said the other picks for the National Assembly will be finalized in the coming days. The recently formed We Invest in Nationhood party will be heading into the new parliament as the main opposition. Mohammed said he intends to take up the role as opposition leader, which is a constitutional post. Social media star and singer Lolita Calendar, also known as Lola Doll, has been interviewed by police investigators probing her shooting, as doctors say her condition has improved. Calendar was shot multiple times to her body on Saturday night by an unknown gunman as she sat in her car just after arriving home in East Rheinfeldt. In a statement this afternoon, the Guyana Police Force said the first suspect, who was arrested as part of the investigations, has since been released on $500,000 station bail, as the 72-hour detention timeline had expired. However, businessman Paul Davy Jr., who was wanted for questioning in relation to the shooting incident, remains in custody. Davy Jr., who was recently sanctioned by the U.S. government for alleged ties to the drug trafficking underworld, surrendered to law enforcement earlier this week after a wanted bulletin was issued for his arrest. Investigators are still reviewing additional surveillance video recordings that capture the shooting incident as they continue their efforts to positively identify the suspect. Police CCTV cameras from nearby utility poles are also being reviewed. The racy social media influencer turned singer had complained to friends and on social media that a businessman had placed a hit on her. The shooting on Saturday night shocked her fans and followers and made international headlines as a number of major entertainment and international news outlets reported on the shooting. Calendar was shot to the face, arms, and legs. Her doctors told the police that her recovery has been going well. The investigations are ongoing tonight.
Your own home is so much more than just four walls, floors, and ceilings. It's a lifetime of great memories and stories. Come talk to us and start your journey home today.
Republic Bank. We're the one for you.
Washi. Hi people. Washing made so easy since I found Washi. Washing me use wash me clothes and I can say Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder leave me clothes smelling nice, of course. So give thanks to Washi soap powder for doing my laundry right. Keep my clothes color bright. Have my clothes smelling nice for sure. I could not ask for more. Comes in lemon and original. It is a washing machine in a pack. Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder have my clothes smelling nice, of course.
Distributors located in the Stabrook Market.
It all starts with one. Maybe it's one look, you know the one, or one touch, even one word. I can start with one step, or one promise, one thrill, one first time, one deep breath, one leap of faith, one day to remember, or one night to forget. One moment, so many stories that make up one crazy, average, everyday, fabulous life. We get one life, just one. Make your move. It all starts with one.
6 years after the Balwant Singh Hospital and its chief executive officer, Dr. Madhu Singh, moved to the High Court with a defamation lawsuit against controversial activist Melissa Atwell, known as Melly Mel, Justice Fidela Corbin Lincoln has ruled in favor of the hospital and its CEO by finding that the statements made by Atwell against the hospital were indeed defamatory. Atwell has been ordered by the court to pay $20 million to Dr. Madhu Singh and $15 million to the hospital. She has also been ordered to pay costs of $3.1 million to the parties in the matter. Atwell, who no longer lives in Guyana, has stated that her attorneys have indicated their intention to appeal the matter. Her legal team was led by attorney Sanjeev Datadin. In July 2019, Atwell was sued by the Balwant Singh Hospital and its CEO over her decision to share several horror testimonials from alleged unsatisfied patients of the hospital. The hospital's complaint dealt with several alleged testimonials and reviews of the hospital services from a number of unnamed former patients who ridiculed the hospital and the CEO. In her response to the lawsuit, Atwell claimed that she did nothing illegal, since she shared the verbatim stories of former patients as she received them. She also said there are records that could verify the account of the former patients and even former staffers whose stories she also shared. The social media activist said she shared the stories because she believes the public has a right to know the experiences of others at the private hospital. In her ruling, Justice Corbin Lincoln said she did not find favor with Atwell's defense and justification for her actions, and has also ordered that she remove the offending posts from her social media pages. The Guyana Police Force has been continuing its efforts to weed out the marijuana cultivation and drug trade across the country. Its latest effort took place in the Wiruni savannas in the Upper Berbice River area. The police said agents from the narcotics branch of the force discovered and destroyed several massive marijuana fields and dried marijuana, which together carried a value of $571 million. According to a statement from the police, the operation took place early on Tuesday morning in the Upper Berbice River area. The police team said they discovered an 8-acre plot of land that was now being prepped for cultivation, along with a makeshift camp and a drying area. The police said they found about 1,400 pounds of dried cannabis in the abandoned camp, along with a 12-gauge shotgun and 9 matching cartridges. The shotgun had no serial number on it. The police said its narcotics team took possession of the firearm and ammunition that have since been lodged at police headquarters for ballistics testing. The camp and dried cannabis were destroyed by fire, and there were no arrests. In a similar operation in the same area, the police also reported discovering several additional marijuana fields, and those fields were also destroyed. A former policeman has once again landed himself on the other side of the law and could find himself before the court before the end of this week, facing illegal firearm and drug possession charges. Businessman and former police cadet officer Franz Paul was arrested by the police on Tuesday evening along Placentia Road in the vicinity of the Square of the Revolution. In a statement today, the Guyana Police Force said its ranks tracked down Paul as they were acting on information received. The 39-year-old man was found as the lone occupant in his Honda Vezel vehicle. He was told by the ranks that they were in receipt of information that he had narcotics, arms, and ammunition in his possession. A search of the man unearthed a .22 pistol with a magazine containing 2 live rounds of ammunition in his pants pocket. During a search of the vehicle, the police said the ranks discovered a large garbage bag on the floor behind the front passenger seat. In that bag, the investigating ranks said they found 2 bulky parcels containing marijuana leaves, seeds, and stems. Paul was told of the offenses committed and cautioned. He was then escorted to the Rhineville police station along with the suspected narcotics, the firearm, the ammunition, and his vehicle. The vehicle was photographed and lodged. The police said the firearm was processed for latent fingerprints, but none was detected. It has since been taken to the forensic lab for ballistics testing. The total weight of the marijuana found amounted to 4.9 pounds. Paul remains in police custody tonight, pending charges. Back in 2019, while he was still a serving member of the Guyana police force, he was charged with the shooting of a 15-year-old boy in the mouth with an unlicensed firearm and making threats against another person. A 19-year-old wash bay owner from the west coast of Demerara is in police custody tonight after 177.6 pounds of marijuana was discovered in a car at his wash bay. The youth was arrested by the police in Regional Division 3 during an operation earlier today. However, following questions by news source, the police public relations office admitted that the 19-year-old is not the owner of the car. The police say the owner of the car is still to be arrested. The police in a statement said during the operation in Iflut, a grey Toyota premium motor car was spotted parked in the vicinity of the wash bay that is owned by the teenager. The police said the young man was contacted and searched, but nothing unlawful was found on his person. However, the Toyota motor car that was found at the wash bay was taken to the Lenora police station where a search was executed and several large bags of marijuana were found in the trunk of the car. The police said the marijuana was weighed in the young man's presence and the weight amounted to just over 177 pounds. He was placed under arrest pending charges as a search was launched for the owner of the car.
Live the island dream. It's your chance to be one of over 100 winners in the Island Dream Promotion. Win your share of more than $1 million in cash and prizes, plus 2 all-inclusive weekend staycations for 2. And that's not all. Score coolers packed with Buster, Turbo, Altitude and Viva. Just buy any can or bottle of Turbo, Buster, Altitude or Viva. Find the code starting with BB, then visit at Buster Guyana or Turbo_Caribbean on IG or Facebook for details. Live the island dream, get money. Live the island dream.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Oil is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Oil's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial and aerial transportation. Oil has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
With your regional and international news tonight, I am Svetlana Marshall. In the region, a dispute over the price of a tray of eggs is what may have set off a deadly chain of events in Manchester, Jamaica, Tuesday, which ended when a thug, armed with 2 guns and more than 500 bullets, were shot and killed after a fierce standoff and gun battle that lasted more than 4 hours. When the smoke cleared, an Omni multi-caliber 5.56 rifle, a 9mm pistol, and more than 500 assorted rounds of ammunition were found inside the Mandeville apartment where the gunman was holed up, the police commander for the parish disclosed. The Omni rifle is capable of firing different assorted rounds of ammunition, said Assistant Commissioner of Police Calvin Allen, head of the Police Area 3. Cops also seized several magazines, including high-capacity drum magazines for the rifle and an extended magazine for the pistol. He fired close to 100 rounds of bullets after us, Duncan told the Jamaica Gleaner, making reference to members of the police SWAT unit, the Counterterrorism and Organized Crime Division, the Fugitive Apprehension Team, and the Jamaica Defense Force, who are part of the operation. Our police sustained minor injuries while 2 service vehicles were damaged. Up to late Tuesday, investigators were still trying to identify the slain gunman. The chain of events began unfolding shortly after 7:30 a.m. when Adrian Bernard, a 30-year-old accountant, was found dead from gunshot wounds inside his car in the heart of the Mid-Island town. A motive for Bernard's killing is unclear, but Duncan said investigators are probing reports that it was related to a dispute over eggs and egg prices. Initial investigations into Bernard killing led the police to a location where the armed thug barricaded himself and opened fire at cops. Multiple videos posted to social media while the drama unfolded show the location to be an apartment complex in the town. The videos also captured portions of the fierce exchange of gunfire between the suspected killer and members of the security forces. 2 Brazilian Supreme Court justices on Tuesday voted to convict former President Jair Bolsonaro of leading a criminal conspiracy to overturn the 2022 election as they cast the first votes in the final phase of the ex-president's trial, according to Reuters. The 5-judge panel is now 1 vote away from a majority convicting Bolsonaro of planning an attempted coup to remain in power after his 2022 electoral defeat to President Luiz Lula da Silva. The charges stem from a federal police investigation that uncovered the alleged plot, including plans to prison Lula and his ruling mate. Bolsonaro stands accused of taking part of an armed criminal organization, attempting to violently abolish democracy, organizing a coup, and damaging government property and protected cultural assets. His lawyers have maintained his innocence on all counts. The charges are tied to Bolsonaro's alleged incitement of riots in January 2023, when thousands of his supporters stormed the Congress, Presidential Palace, and Supreme Court in Brasilia, the capital. And finally tonight, international news. Russia's defense ministry says it did not plan to attack any targets in Poland after Warsaw said Russian drones entered its airspace. Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk says up to 4 of 19 Russian drones were shot down by Polish and NATO aircraft, according to the BBC. It marks the first time Russian drones have been downed over the territory of a NATO country. The Prime Minister also warns that Poland is at its closest to open conflict since World War II. Meanwhile, the UK's Defence Minister says he has asked Britain's armed forces to look at options to bolster NATO's air defence over Poland. The drones that entered Poland were part of overnight attacks on Ukraine, during which Russia launched 415 drones. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall, wishing you a pleasant evening.